Welcome to ACC Career Mode by ACM Racing. ACC Career Mode is back and better than ever, with a 3-month-long series containing over 50 races with mixed formats and challenges. Team up with friends to manage your finances, car performance and sponsor contracts, or go solo and manage your favourite car across the whole season, utilising the daily, weekly and monthly challenges to add some spice to your online racing. The best thing? You decide your career, with 7 different paths to choose from. Minimum effort is no effort. ACC Career Mode Quarter 1 contains 5 races a week, all stewarded and commentated live with a range of formats from 4 to 12 hour endurance races to 25-minute sprints. The full race calendar is available at acm-racing.com, with individual race sign-up taking place on SimGrid. Only available on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Okay, apologies, ladies and gents. I just realised I've been talking at you for the last 5 minutes, and I haven't actually had my mic on this entire time. It was on a different microphone than what it thought. So apologies for that, everybody. But I'm Doug. This is ACM. We are here for 60 minutes of Imola. Rushing about, currently trying to find out how to make some cool overlays work. Unfortunately, not having much luck, so something to experiment on for the next time I run commentary. But we are currently watching a bunch of ACM's fastest drivers lug their cars around this beautiful track in the Italian countryside, Imola. One of my personal favourite tracks in ACC. It's very technical and challenging, with lots of chicanes that really challenge your precision driving. Murray in that number 21 Mustang, proving why it is one of the better cars for a track like this. Very much focused on those slow speed corners with that straight line speed, carrying the car throughout. Ryan Cheshire in the 343 Mustang goes faster, so it is a Mustang 1-2 at the moment. Got a few other drivers up and down the grid. We have 23 drivers starting today. One driver that I've noticed is Ben Gilroy in the number 34 Porsche 911 with Team Shumi skins. A very, very nice looking dragon-themed livery on that car. Very, very nice. He is currently a 4-time BOSR champion, so one of the fastest drivers in University Sim Racing. 4 times on the dot. He is essentially like if Max Verstappen was British and drove a Porsche. It's probably a bit high praise, but everyone used to joke. I used to be Gilroy's biggest fan, still am, and you're about to probably see why, unless his lap was invalid, which it seems like it was. That previous lap was a 42.2, so not really good from the number 34. I know he's more used to driving the McLaren, but he wanted to switch himself to the Porsche, give himself a little bit of a challenge. Looking through the grid, Goswell has dropped down into P6. A couple other drivers are still on for some improvements. Gallimini comes across the line. Slight improvement, not going to improve their position though. Let's look back at Lucas Costa in the number 90 McLaren, who is on for improving by about 3/10. So if they can keep it up to the line, this will put them up into P2. And so it does, breaking up the two Mustangs in first and second place. Very good job from the Brazilian driver there. Rear end of Gilroy getting a little bit squirrely coming through Aqua Minerale. Coming at the final chicane now. One with the most rigorous curbs, the largest ones, which he invalidated that there, just going a little bit too wide right at the exit. Let's go back through the grid and have a look who else is on. So Marco Crapo is currently going through. Number 31 driver coming through the final couple of corners in his Ferrari 296, being followed by another on track. I think that is the number 33 there, of Rene behind him. The number 31 improves his time, goes up to P15 with a 42.8. Kelly's coming across the line now, and he's going to shoot himself up into P11. Very good job from the Ferrari driver there. The 666 Adamczyk, who I think we saw last time at the 6 out of Kailami, gets a little bit squirrely at the exit of the final corner. Just about clips the inside as much as he can. Improves his time by about 2/10. Very good improvement of time, but does not improve the Polish driver's position here. And Nazidu has put themselves into P18. A few other drivers seeming to not want to be qualifying, still in the pit lane. Turbanov, Schick and Gilroy. We've got Darkness in the number 724, who is being obstructed by a tree there. Who's currently running their way through the first sector of the track. It is, again, this is where two of the chicanes that you'll see are just in that first sector, slowing the cars down a little bit. Getting those corners right are crucial, because right at the end of them you've got those long straights. Sector 2 has a lot more fast-flowing corners, like Acqua Minerale and some of the other ones that I've forgotten the names of. In the final chicane he goes now, absolutely hammering those curbs as much as possible, using all of that exit space. Manages to pass another BMW who was driving quite slowly there. He is currently coming through the final corners. 2 90-degree left-hand corners that will take him to the finish line, using all that space. Oh, again, losing the rear end a little bit. Those front-engine BMWs do seem to have a bit of a habit for doing that at this track. Darkness is going to come across the line. That's P18 with a 1 minute 45.3. Very good job from the British driver. That BMW does look like a bit of a handful. Costa coming across the line, goes pole position. Takes it by almost 0.3 of a second. Very, very good from the Brazilian driver here. Incredible stuff. A 1 minute 40.645. Very, very quick time. He's gone back to the pits, probably going to refuel, make a couple changes, and head right back out on track. Currently in P7 is the founder of ACM, the head honcho, the man behind the... I can't think of anything good to make a rhyme. It's Harry Goswell. He is why we are all here and racing today, and I think without Harry, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to try commentating for anything. So he's been very awesome to me, and very awesome to everyone else. He's managed to find a fantastic team of people to make these races possible, including our sponsors of Uplay and Gportal, who we now use for our server hosting. So all this ACM servers, nice and brand new and shiny, provided to us by the lovely, lovely people over at Gportal. Harry is going to be coming through that final corner, cutting that inside as much as possible to shorten that run to the line, improving by 0.6, going up at a 3rd place. For a driver who's previously told me he's good in anything that isn't a GT3, he's looking pretty good in the GT3s. If we're looking at other drivers who have done better, that livery has not synced properly, so I apologise for that. He is on for a decent improvement, though, coming through those last couple of corners. He's about 0.2 up, losing a little bit of time out of that final corner, maybe not carrying as much momentum as possible, not really cutting that inside too much either. It's about 1.5 in it, and that has improved him up to P7, so very good run from him. Falinski, the number 70 driver in the Spinning Diamonds Lamborghini, a very, very striking livery. Cutting that final corner as much as possible, running it to the line, and he then goes up to P7 with a 41.3. Other drivers up and down the grid currently looking for some improvements. Number 31, French driver in the Ferrari. Not the only French driver driving a Ferrari-powered car with a number 31 on it this year, as the number 31 car of Crapo goes through that final corner, carrying a fair bit of momentum through. He's about even out of that last corner, about a 1/4 of a second up. That's going to put him up to P15 when he crosses the line. Nasidou is going to be coming through the final corner, absolutely flooring that Lamborghini as much as he can, and he's going to improve by about 1.2 seconds, but he's still going to be in last place. Gilroy in the Shumi Skins Porsche, again, sending it through those last corners. The Porsche does look like a bit of a handful, and he's gone completely off there. Just trying to keep the Porsche going in a straight line is a very, very difficult task to do. He's clearly frustrated. You can see him wiggling that wheel around. He does not want to be having to fight this Porsche everywhere. Coming out that final corner. I mean, this would have been an absolutely mega lap, but he just needs to keep one valid if he wants to have any chance. He's only going to have maybe 2 or 3 more opportunities to get that car qualified. Scrolling back through the list of drivers, I'm trying to see who is due for a decent improvement. They'll probably see them up a couple of positions. I'm going to stick with Gilroy for now, though, as he's absolutely flooring the car through these chicanes. The Porsche can handle them quite well because it's rear engine, so you can rely a little bit on having more weight at the back of the car and use that kind of weight transfer to just absolutely send the car in. And you know, it's also weight handles very, very well in the wet. The only real the drawback to the Porsche is its lack of straight line speed, and at a track like Imola with a lot of straight lines, you know, the Porsche does struggle a little bit around here, and Gilroy has just invalidated at that corner. I really do need to get my knowledge up, I think. So I am still having a look for other overlays. Hopefully I can make this stream look a little bit more interesting than it currently does. Looking back through the grid at the moment, doesn't really look like anyone's due for any improvement. A lot of drivers who have who could have been on for an improvement are currently in the pit lane. Yeah, Gilroy has invalidated again, but he's on for one final lap that he could use to improve his time. That driver who is still improving is Lucas Costa, about 0.2 of a second up from his previous best lap. We're just going to see how far can Costa drive his car up the grid. And Costa does improve his time to a 1 minute 40.5. Fantastic drive from the Brazilian. Fantastic car control. Puts himself on pole position. 0.4 clear of Cheshire. There are only a few drivers that are out there, but I am going to focus on this driver in particular, Gilroy, who has been setting blinding laps, but all of them have unfortunately been invalid. Yeah, here we go. So let's have a look at the interior cam here. Just how much is he fighting the car? You can see he's kind of doing an initial turn in, and he is just kind of controlling the car with his feet, almost driving it like a go-kart through some of these corners. You can just see how much of a handful that Porsche is. The amount of corrections that Gilroy's having to make on the steering wheel there. Braking into this final chicane. Oh, I want to say he's a bit late. Oh, and he's in the wall. Gilroy out of qualifying. That is a massive shame. He's going to be starting right from the back of the grid, but he does have some serious pace. Nolain is coming to that final corner, or Nolayan probably, coming to that final corner, improves up to P12. Adamczyk currently P18 but not improving, comes across that finish line, and that is qualifying. You have Lucas Costa in first place, 4/10 clear of Cheshire behind, Goswell in third, followed by Martire, Mari, Judy, Falinsky, Bellamy, Bududa, and Fitzo finishes your top 10. Let's just take a quick moment to give our sponsors a little shout out. First up, we've got Uplay. They have been a sponsor of ACM for quite some time, and they have been fantastic at providing people a gateway into sim racing with their super cheap games. If you want game keys for cheap, Uplay is the place to get it. So if you want to get some really steep discounts on ACC, Assetto Corsa, some of the DLCs, you can find them all for really cheap on Uplay. So head on down to the Uplay site for some pretty deep discounts on games like ACC, any sim racing games, or any games you want for that matter. You can get it all through through Uplay. So check them out. We've also got G Portal, who are our brand new server providers. We've put a nice new coat on them, and the connections are a lot nicer. We've had a lot less issues with stability, I think, since we started using G-Portal. So if you are looking to host your own races, check G-Portal out as well, because they have been absolutely incredible while we've been using them. We've just got about 1 minute left before the session starts, so tell you what, my water's actually fine. I was going to go refill, but I think I'll be okay. Still trying to figure out overlays and stuff, but none of it is sorry if you can hear my my really clacky, annoying keyboard. I am trying to get a new one, but it is just a bit annoying when I'm typing away, and you can probably hear it on the microphone. 20 seconds left before we start off the formation lap. So, a couple key notes about this race. We're driving for 60 minutes at Imola, scorching hot track temperatures. You know, we've got 33 degrees on the track, so those tyres are going to be nice and toasty. No wind to throw any of the drivers off. Immediately, Schick and Fitzo are in the pit lane after having not pressed start for the race. So, Imola is a beautiful, beautiful track, not only for GT racing, but also for Formula 1, providing a very, very technical challenge, lots of straights and chicanes, as well as some fast-flowing corners and some smaller, tighter corners that will challenge every aspect of a car and driver. Overtaking opportunities at Imola are few and far between unless you know exactly where you can set them up. It is a bit of a difficult task to overtake at Imola, because the track, while it might seem wide enough for a lot of cars to go side by side, actually going through the corners side by side is another matter completely. It is very much possible to overtake through here, and you know, I've done it before. I've done it before a few times, but it's also very easy to go wrong. With Imola being one of those more traditional tracks, you know, there isn't really any runoff to save you. It's just grass followed by the wall, which, you know, ideally you don't want to be hitting. So in a race like this, it becomes very, very important just keeping the car on the track and just trying to keep your nose out of trouble. Again, there is very much some opportunities for overtaking, but They are very few and far between. You can definitely make some decent moves into a couple of the chicanes, or at least setting them up before the chicane even starts. You can throw drivers off their line and really just set yourself up to overtake on the corner exit in some instances. And the final two corners are also pretty good for overtaking. If you can get a good run out of this final chicane that the drivers are coming up to now, you do just want to take it nice and careful while you're driving around Imola. It can be a very difficult track to drive, but our 23 drivers are going to be 24 drivers are going to be taking on the challenge of the 1 hour of Imola. There is also no mandatory pit stop for this race, so the real challenge is not going to be in strategy, but mostly in pace. I'd say most drivers, as long as you can survive the first few laps, you should be just about fine. Aha! Right, Harry told me to press insert. I forgot to do that. Okay, the drivers are going side by side, ready to start here at Imola. It's another one of those tracks where the drivers get in formation. Excuse me. The drivers will get in formation, but it's a pretty long run to that starting line. So the drivers are going to wait with bated breath. 5 lights are on. As we go green for the 60 minutes of Imola, Costa gets off to a pretty decent start. Cheshire's already alongside him. We're going 2 by 2 into the first corner. There's a little bit of jumbling happening behind, bit of chaos, bit of contact, between Cheshire and Costa, but Costa is out front pretty safely. Caradu falling behind in the pack a little bit. Looks like most of the drivers have made it through turn 1 pretty cleanly. Gilroy's already trying to make his way through the grid. The two drivers who have started in the pit lane are Fitzo and Schick are going to be coming out of the pit lane right now, and they're going to be about a sector behind the rest of the pack, so it's going to be a pretty big challenge for them to catch back up. Gilroy is carving his way through the field, going around the outside of Nazadou in the number 99. He's going to continue to try and make a few more overtakes. He's got a Damschick just ahead of him. The British driver is going to absolutely hound everyone for position. Bududa falls behind Falinsky in that black and purple Lamborghini. Caradu is currently side by side with Kelly, who's squeezing into the outside of Aqua Minerale. Not really any room for him to make a move there. Gilroy is still stuck behind, and that is Sashin going right off. That's going to be 2 moves in 1 for Gilroy, who uses the spinning BMW as an opportunity. Adamczyk slows down, goes wide, avoids it. Gilroy carves him in half and just gets right through. He's already up into P17 after starting in P23. Nazadou falls back but a few more positions as he misses his braking zone for that final chicane. But currently, Cheshire is in the lead. I think Costa might have had a bit of an incident earlier. And that's dropped him down into P3. Goswell making his way up into second place as well. This race is already off to a pretty extreme start. And on topic of extreme, number 17 of extreme, looking around the outside in the nuke-proof McLaren, still side by side with Caradu as they are going to come through the first chicane. Caradu onto the grass, and that's them straight on. Dips 2 wheels in the grass there, and that unfortunately caught them out. Extreme currently has Gilroy biting at his neck, and it looks like Gilroy's right up there. Oh, like a vampire, he's absolutely swept in, gone for the move, and yeah, breathing down his neck, making that move into the second chicane. Very confident from the Porsche driver, already up into P14. After just about a lap and a half, he's absolutely sending it out there, Gilroy. Noyan and Galamini are currently fighting for position. This is the battle for P9 now. Coming out of Aquaminerale, the McLaren does go a little bit wide. The Ferrari is going to look for a bit of a move, going to go for a bit of a wider camera angle here. The DMF Ferrari still looking for a move, hounding that McLaren, keeping in his mirrors as a best way of trying to force that mistake. Just make sure the driver ahead of you knows that you're there. Looking a bit up and down the grid. Yeah, we are now down to just 23 drivers, as one of our drivers has left. I don't see who it was. Costa falling back even further, currently behind Beduda. Gilroy down a couple of positions. He might have had some sort of a spin there. Kelly's also lost a couple of positions, going side by side now with Turbinov in that BWT Mercedes. He's basically pushing him up the straight. That Mercedes does have better straight line speed. Is he going for like a bump draft or something? Because that is what it seems like. As the blue and pink Mercedes is going to maybe look for a move into the first corner. Kelly not really using all of the space given to him, but he is trying to defend from Turbinov, who does have a pretty bad run. Kelly's managed to actually have a really decent run through the first chicane. Very, very decent from the number 91 Ferrari, who does have Turbinov still chasing him down. There's a train starting to form behind Costa, all the way down to P11. Each driver is just in a couple of tenths of one another, and it looks like Felinski's actually going to go for a bit of a move here, go for a bit of a wider angle shot, and he decides he's going to think better of it. Coming through Aquaminerale, he's going to look for a better move. Costa has gone off at Aquaminerale again. That's given Felinski a bit position. He could be going for another move into the chicane. Again, he's being very, very sensible. I do like that about Felinski. The number 70 Lamborghini is very, very much looking for that 6th place. Sorry, 5th place. But, you know, he's not going to do anything stupid to try and get it. I can admire a racing style like that. We're going to look at the battle between Darkness and Adamczyk in the 666 BMW. Fight the BMWs, actually. Coming out of the final few corners, battle for P16 at the moment. The Kelly's looking to maybe get involved as well. Adamczyk does go a little bit wide. Out that last corner, kicks up a bit of gravel, deploying that tactical smokescreen for Kelly behind. Adamczyk does look to be getting closer. He does have that slipstream. He could be going for a move into the first corner. Let's go on the wing cam. Adamczyk looking up the inside. Sashin braking nice and early. Able to keep on keeping on. Widening that run through turn number 4. As we can see Kelly going up the inside of Adamczyk from the rear wing of the BMW, the ACM BMW. Adamczyk does go a little bit wide again. Kelly is going to be hounding Darkness for position pretty soon, I think. And the field has already started to widen a little bit. We're going to look at Tino Rede in the Scuderia Padovano Ferrari. I think they are a Chilean driver. If my flag knowledge is correct, I might be wrong, and I sincerely apologise if it is if you are from a different country, but I believe that is a flag of Chile. Very, very nice looking car. There's two schools of liveries in ACC. There's the ones that very much look fictional, and then there's the ones that look real. So for a second, I actually thought yours was an in-game livery, as Costa is looking for a move. Bit of contact between himself and Galamini, but Costa is up one more position, up to P9. Bit of a poor start from the Brazilian driver, who, just after the first lap, dropped a whole bunch of positions. Adamczyk with a 15-second penalty and Nazadou with 5. A lot of these drivers seem to be getting involved in a lot of argy-bargy all throughout. Gilroy's looking for a move on the outside of Caradu. It's going to turn onto the inside for the next corner. Gilroy's coming in at the first chicane, and it looked like Caradu was going to turn it up. I think my internet might just be a little bit sketchy today. Gilroy's made another move. He's up in a P14. He has gained, I think, 8 positions in about 8 minutes, and if this is on, if this is going to continue on, he's going to be in position -40 by the time the race finishes. But that's why statistics don't really matter. That's another position, as the number 31 has had a bit of a spin, I think. Hopefully he's managed to keep it out of the wall. The gravel should have done a pretty decent job of ensuring that you don't go into the wall. Turbanov also seems to have had a bit of a spin and gets absolutely collected by a Ferrari behind. I think that was Fizzo, who ended up crashing right into the side of that Mercedes. Who's almost certainly going to have suspension damage. This is why you got to pay attention to yellow flags, everybody. You've got to pay attention. Yellow flags should mean you slow down. Doesn't mean that you should go right into the side of the car that is right across the track, but also hold your brakes. I think that is a bit of an incident on both halves there. I can't say either one was in the right. Let's go back to the battle for the lead now between Cheshire and Goswell in second place. The number 8 Aston Martin has that slipstream. He's going to look for a bit of a move coming into the first corner, looking up the inside. It's going on the wing camera. No, you can't really see there. Goswell's still looking for that move. Cheshire cuts him off, slams that door shut in Harry's face, and he knows that's going to have compromised his line through that first chicane. Cheshire's going to try and use this as an opportunity to pull a little bit more time on him. Nolian has dropped another position to Costa, climbing his way back up through the ranks. We're going to go back to Cheshire and Goswell now. An all-black Mustang with no number plate on it, very much resembling the Knight Rider car, at least in my eyes. Has Goswell chasing him down, and Turbanov has pulled into the pit lane. I think he did have suspension damage from that contact with Fizzo earlier. Since that was a full front contact for Fizzo, I don't think he'll have as much damage, at least not to the suspension. Turbanov took that all the way to his rear left. Bit unstable on the exit of the final chicane. Cheshire is fighting that Mustang a little bit more. Nolian and Galamini are currently fighting for position as well. The gap is about the same as it is for the lead, about 0.3 of a second. We're going to go back to Cheshire and Goswell in first place. The battle for first. Cheshire does seem to be like he's under pressure a little bit from Goswell. He's moving around before the braking zone, making sure Harry knows that he is going to defend this position. But he could be succumbing to a bit of pressure as Harry does brake a little bit late. Almost gets in a bit of a pickle there, but that is another incident there. The 225 seems to have pulled off, and now he is out of the race. I can't remember who that was, but I can't catch the replay anymore because I have actually left the lobby, so I'm not going to be able to look back and see what happened there. Let's go back to Darkness and Adamczyk, and the moment that I go back, Darkness goes right off and Adamczyk goes past. Talk about commentator's curse. The number 724 is going to try and catch that 666. Fizzo and Gilcave are currently trying to battle for P19, or P18, sorry. As Galikaev in the number 74 WRT BMW is going to be trying to floor it to get past, but unfortunately the difference in speed has been too much, and they've dropped back a little bit more than they probably would have liked. Mari currently being chased down by Bududa for third place. You can see just ahead Goswell and Cheshire still having their fight for first. As that gap has come down a little bit more, Goswell is going to still be looking for that move wherever he can. He's putting Cheshire under a lot of pressure, trying to make that move. That ACM Aston Martin is trying to get in the Mustang's mirrors as much as possible, while trying to not lose too much of his own time. Race has settled down a little bit more. The gaps between the cars are really opening up. There are only a few battles that are still happening throughout the pack. The battle for P1, battle for P3, which you can see just behind, and there's also a bit of a battle for P8 between Noleon and Galamini. The rest of the grid has spread out a little bit more. The number 44 seems to have had a bit of an incident at that final chicane. He is going though, so he is. Turbanov is still making his move, but there are there's a lot going wrong for that Mercedes, unfortunately. Turbanov had a decent start, just ended up getting caught out in that incident by Fizzo, barreling through the yellow flag. The Mustang really opened up that final corner, trying to get as much as possible out of it. But Goswell's going to continue to try and just scrape a little bit more time using that slipstream from the Mustang to get a bit closer. But even with the slipstream, Harry isn't really close enough to make a move into that first corner. The Mustang's straight line speed is absolutely insane. That American Muscle V8 really doing its job. Harry opening up the corner a little bit more. It looks like he could actually go for a bit of a move here. You can see the headlights of that Aston Martin eking closer and closer to the back of that Mustang. And Harry goes for the move into the hairpin. Very decisive move up the inside. Cheshire looks for the switchback move, but that is Harry Goswell in first place. The number 8 Aston Martin driver racing for ACM is leading in his own league. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to say it's rigged, but I'm of course joking. None of this is rigged, but Harry has managed to get himself and his rig up into first place. Fantastic driving for the number 8 Aston Martin. Very, very decisive move made at the hairpin just after the second chicane. Very, very well done from him. Meanwhile, Darkness has been overtaken by Kelly, losing a bit more time to Adamczyk in the 666 BMW. Getting that overtake made on him. He's dropping a few more positions, but Darkness is still in this race with 45 minutes to go. Still plenty of race left. Gilroy has a 5-second penalty. Not sure what for. Tell you what I can do though. I can pull it up and see what happens. Yeah, Gilroy had a penalty from very early on, where he had hit Kelly, I think. Missed his braking point, tagged the inside rear of him, and spun him around. There was some minor contact, a position was gained, and that's given Gilroy a 5-second penalty. He's now on the back of Extreme in P12. He's going to continue to floor that car. Fitzo also has a 10-second penalty coming on after lap 5. Yeah, ignoring those yellow flags and ploughing right into the side of him. That has given him a penalty of 10 seconds, which will eventually be applied, I'm sure. Keep clicking the wrong thing, hold on. Caradu and Croppo are... Ooh, there's contact there! The two seem to have collided. I couldn't really tell who that was on. They're about to go side by side through one of those corners, or through turn number... 4, 5, 6... 8? 9, I think? I don't know. Through turn number 8 or 9. Yeah, contact, that sent them both spinning. This has given Kelly and Darkness some more positions. Kelly makes a move on Adamczyk on the exit of Aqua Minerale. This has even brought Darkness maybe back into that fight with the 666 BMW. Gilroy's still on the back of Extreme. Looking for that P11, but he does have that 5-second penalty, so he'll need to get 5 seconds clear of him if he wants to maintain that position. Again, the top flight of cars are currently very, very close together. Turbanov, again, very unfortunate contact with him earlier. Cheshire's dropped down all the way to P5. While I've not been looking, must have been some sort of incident where he got caught up in something or other. Goswell still leading. Mari currently second. Baduda looking for a move on Mari out of Acqua Minerale. The two cars are very, very close to one another. Baduda to the outside. Mari just about manages to cut him off before the final chicane. And that Mustang is going to use all of the power that it's got to its advantage, trying to pull itself out of the corner, trying to get away from that Ferrari as much as he can. Extreme seems to have lost the car there. He's dropped back behind Gilroy. I think he might have spun it coming through Acqua Minerale and yeah, lost that position. He's about 8 seconds back on Gilroy now. Bit unfortunate from the driver, but from number 17. But that is just unfortunate from him. Gilroy up into P11 now. He's going to aim for a top 10 finish at the very least. With how close the front end of the field is. Wouldn't be surprised if we could get a little bit more out of that. It was Martire. Martire has spun it. I don't know what he's done there. Let's go back a little bit. See if that doesn't break my game, and it does. Yeah, just gets on the gravel through the corner, spins himself around, goes a little bit wide, rejoins the track at a bit of an awkward angle, but he has dropped himself down to P10. Unfortunate from the Italian driver, but he is still rolling in this race in P10. Mari and Baduda going side by side one more time, coming into the final chicane. The Mustang has the inside line, but the Ferrari will have the inside line for the second part. Ooh, Baduda does push him wide a little bit, but the Mustang uses the runoff and gets back past him. I don't know what the stewards would say about that one, but Baduda's going to have to go back and try again if he wants to make that move on the number 21 Mustang. All this is doing for Goswell, though, is opening up that gap. There's now 1.5 seconds between the number 8 Aston Martin and the number 21 Mustang, just because Baduda and Mari are fighting that much. Harry is just pulling clear. Baduda does have the fastest lap of the race by a pretty decent chunk with a 1 minute 41.0. Very, very close to qualifying pace there, I'd say, but maybe just losing out a little bit. No Leon getting a 5-second penalty there, which I think was for blocking during qualifying. So I'm waiting for a gap. He had made some contact with another car, and that has not been very good for him. A lot of the site itself is still updating, and penalties are still going to be rolling through. Gilroy's still going to be trying to climb his way up through the field, up to P11 now. Mori goes a little bit wide. Baduda looking for that inside line into this final chicane. Tucks back in behind the Mustang. Can't really make that move stick just yet. But he is making sure that number 21 knows that his Ferrari is going to be there should he make a mistake. And into the final corner, that actually looked like Mori just let him by. I think he realised he'd made a bit of a mistake there. Overtaking off track. And he's done the sportsmanlike thing. He's let Baduda through. So he's going to try and make that move again. Again, you love to see this sort of sportsmanship in ACC. It might just be, you know, the cars might not be real, but the racing very much is. And the sportsmanship seen by Mari, I'd say it's very admirable. You don't see moves like that happening often. So big shout out to the number 21 Mustang. Trying to look through the grid at the moment, how many other drivers we have fighting right now. That's number 44, who's had a bit of an off again at the first corner. Have a little bit of an instant replay. Let's see what happened to Turbanov here. Yeah, just lost it on the curb, I think. A bit unfortunate from him, but this does happen. This does happen. Bellamy has been overtaken by Felinski. Number 70, Lamborghini continuing to make his way up through the grid. Ferrari of Bellamy is still right behind, and he's going to keep looking for that move. That very, very nice looking Lamborghini is making their way through up at P5 for the number 70. There's a bit of a four-way battle for P7 happening here, with Noleon, Galamini, Rene and Martire all going to be fighting for P7. Noleon is continuing to draw as much pace with that McLaren as he can. Well, those three Ferraris behind are going to continue to work their way towards him, and I think they are almost working as a team, I want to say here, to try and catch up to that McLaren. Not wanting to make a move. That's Martire off the track. Gilroy in the background is approaching. And he is really going to continue looking for that move, hounding them for position. It's going to be a five-way fight for P7 now. All the Ferrari drivers are just aiming to make more positions. Gilroy's fighting his way through the field after not being able to qualify, starting from the back of the grid. We're going to have some very, very juicy action happening on the track very, very soon. With Galamini and DM for Team DMF are going to be racing Noleon very hard. Noleon has a 5-second penalty as well from earlier, which is it's going to be... Well, all these drivers behind him already have that position on after the fact, after the penalty is applied, but I think everyone just wants to get past him so they can say they beat him on track. As Rene's probably going to look for a move on Galamini here. Looking up the inside of the final corner, the Chilean driver looking for that move. Galamini leaves that room. He does run on the gravel a little bit, maybe a tiny bit of contact between the two. A little bit squirrely on the exit from the 777 car. Rene is going to continue to try and get this to happen, as Martire has Gilroy sniffing the rear end of that Ferrari. He's going to look for that move into the first corner. Oh, Gilroy doesn't make it, but he has unsettled the Ferrari enough to get him off the track. And again, Gilroy is an absolute menace out on track. He's scared Martire off, and he's managed to make his way up in a P10 on track again. Still with that 5-second penalty, so if he wants that P10, he's going to have to pull out at least 5 seconds from Martire, who is going to have dirty tyres from going off into the gravel at the first chicane. Another 17 car of Extreme seems to have also taken a little bit of a tumble there. If we just have a look back. So, I can figure this out. See what happened. Give us just a second. Coming through the first chicane. Oh, that's actually going to cut off beforehand. Yeah, okay, well... Yeah, whoops. Yeah, I think I just had a bit of an incident. First chicane. Probably ran it on one of the curbs. I think, given the position of the car, I think it just went a bit wide. And that spun him going in the gravel on the exit. Leroy again trying to drive as smooth as possible, trying to build as much of a gap to Martire as he can. Chasing down the 101 Ferrari ahead of him, trying to just make that move. Number 99 has had another off. I think that's to do. Yeah, he's in the pit lane. It's had a pretty big incident. Caught up in some sort of crash there. Gilroy's going to keep hounding Rene for that position. Almost goes in the back of him into the braking zone for the hairpin there. Goswell now has Baduda right on his back. Coming into the final chicane. The Aston Martin's able to take the curbs a lot better. Front engine nature of that car makes it a lot more stable over those curbs. A very, very solid car that is able to have the performance of the Ferrari without any of the quirks of a mid-engine car. But that Ferrari isn't going to be giving up anytime soon. Ooh, it was Gallimini. Gallimini's had an off as well. Let's have an instant replay on that one. I apologise for my game freezing every time I do an instant replay. My game just seems to not really like when I do that. So, yeah, that was contact there. Oh my... Wow, okay. So it looks like the McLaren just went right into him. And, I mean, Gallimini did hold his brakes, but that's not a good look for Noleon. Gallimini's dropped back all the way to P11. Very unfortunate for him. Yeah, Noleon just seemed to go straight on at the chicane and force Gallimini right off the track. Gilroy has actually gotten past Rene in the time that it's taken for me to show that. Gilroy is still carving his way through the field, but he is definitely in the top 10 for now, as Gallimini, having that crash earlier, has given the Porsche driver a top 10 finish. Yeah, only Porsche on the grid, actually. He's going to continue to try and pull away as much as he possibly can, just to get a couple more positions. And if Rene and Martiro behind him can keep fighting, this will definitely bring that gap down a little bit more, or bring it up a little bit more, I should say. Though he pulled out a second on Rene, Martire is still looking for that inside, as Rene's had a little bit of a sketchy moment coming out of the out of that final chicane. Martire is all up in his mirrors. He's moving to the left, he's moving to the right, really just trying to figure out where to go. Rene, little bit of movement in the braking zone, maybe a little bit of contact there. The 101 Ferrari comes off worse as Martire barges past, makes that move, but probably not without a penalty, I would assume. Let's go back to that battle for the lead. Budida right on the back of Goswell. He's going to keep trying to make that move stick. Goswell and Budida both using a lot of that curb on the inside. The Ferrari driver is looking for that move. Goswell's not going to let it happen, though. Again, trying to overtake here can be very, very difficult. I mean, while Gilroy might have proven me wrong a couple of times, you know, it's still very much a challenge because of the nature of a lot of these corners. It's really only one lane through a lot of them. So you have to be very, very careful through the corners, carry that speed on the exit, and just keep the car in one piece. Yeah, so Noleon is going to get a bit of a harsher penalty for that contact that we saw earlier with Gallimini. After a little bit of door banging earlier on, literally just a couple seconds before the incident happened, it seemed like Noleon just went flat out into the side of him, for some very, very minor contact, which, again, if you do have an incident out on track, don't take it into your own hands. You're not Batman with a supercar. You are a racing driver, and you are at the discretion of the rules. So Nolian has been given a stop-go 10-second penalty, which is immediately going to drop them down a few positions, maybe even on the back of the grid. But again, let the steward sort it out. You don't need to get involved. Just keep driving your race. As Nolian just is slowing down a lot. I don't see why he's slowing down so much. Back to the battle for the lead. Beduda is still chasing Goswell down. There's a really decent battle happening here. Again, the two are very, very close to one another. Beduda is always going to be looking for that move on the number 8 ACM, Aston Martin. We got a really good run out of that last corner, pulling out a lot of time. Again, another reason the Aston Martin is so good. Has really, really decent straight line speed, which allows it to pull away from a lot of the cars, including the Ferrari. So even with that slipstream, the Aston Martin is just pulling on that Ferrari on that straight. Also, had a really good exit out of that last corner, which definitely helped Goswell to pull away from Beduda by a couple of tenths there. Goswell not having the best of runs through that second chicane on the inside for the hairpin. Beduda's looking for that move on the outside. Don't know if he's actually going to make that stick. So look at the interior cam of Jeremy Beduda. He's going to be looking around the outside for the next corner. Harry Goswell just about coming up in front of Beduda just before the corner. Very, very close racing between these two, and it could even be a three-way battle for the lead as Mari is looking to get on the action in the Mustang. But we're still keeping our eyes on the prize with that battle for first place between Beduda and Goswell, which has been going on for a good few laps now. Goswell having a bit of a slide out of the last chicane, a bit too much on one of the curbs, bit of instability on the rear end. He's still ahead of Beduda, but it's very clear that the number 32 driver, he is putting the Brit under a lot of pressure, and it could only be a matter of time before Beduda is able to make that move happen on Harry Goswell, currently holding that lead. And Beduda and Goswell are very, very close to one another. Beduda is right on the back of the Aston Martin. He's looking wherever he can to try and scare him, trying to get Harry off his line. He does go a little bit wide at the hairpin. Beduda looks for a bit of a cut back, but doesn't really think that Harry would go wide there. So it's all about just having that confidence. I think Beduda may be lacking a little bit of that coming through these corners. He's just going to try as much as he can. He's going to use all of his knowledge, all of his experience to try and dethrone Goswell from leading his race in that Aston Martin. Coming over the hill up to the final chicane, much like a hex bug. Goswell is crawling over the curbs, absolutely clouting them every opportunity that he can, riding them as much as possible to cut down the track length, using that second curb almost to try and turn the car a little bit more, getting better angle through the corner by just using the forces that the curb puts on the car to give it more turning throughout. Beduda is still behind, and he is going to continue hounding Harry for position with his three-way fight for the lead between the Aston Martin, the Ferrari, and now the Mustang of number 21 of Mari. Rene in P13 is just letting past the other drivers. Good blue flag conduct there. Number 216 has had a bit of a spin. Nalayan in the... oh, well, no, he's just completely just stopped on track. That's just completely unsafe. I don't know why he's done that. That is ridiculous. They'd throw off Goswell and Baduda being a literal mobile chicane. The French driver goes back into the pit lane. No longer an on-track obstacle. Yeah, disqualified from the race. I think rightly so. Very dangerous driving from the French driver. But Darkness is now... well, he's going to let them all by. This whole pack. Oh, but it has opened the gap for Rene to get past him, which is a very smart way of using the blue flags to your advantage. The number 101 makes his way up, and yeah, we've had one more driver leave. This race has really been a race of attrition with only 20 minutes to go. It still is anyone's race, really, with Goswell, Baduda and Murray very, very close to one another all throughout this race. So all throughout the rest of the pack, it's a lot quieter, but towards the front of the grid, we have a very, very close fight for the lead that I will be trying to keep my eyes on as much as I possibly can. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you have to excuse me for just a moment. I'm going to go refill my water, but I will keep you on the battle for the lead. So, give me just a moment. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finally back. It looks like we're still mostly the same in terms of our top three. The rest of the field still as they were. Goswell leading the race by a pretty decent amount. Very well done from him. Still got another 15 minutes left to go in the race, and it is still anyone's game. Biduda and Mari are continually pushing both the track and the car to their limits, as they are just trying to get past each other in any way they possibly can. Biduda looking to be very, very close through the braking zone. You just tell how much trust these two drivers can have in each other, even though they are, you know, the only thing that is preventing these two from a crash is bad internet or bad brakes. But it looks like we're not going to have to worry about either of those things. Biduda and Mari are continuing to push as hard as they possibly can. Adamczyk with that 15-second penalty, that is going to drop them down into P12. Darkness has fallen back a fair bit behind Rene. I think there was some sort of spin earlier that stopped Darkness from being able to... stop Darkness from being close to him. Again, we want to shout out our sponsors, Uplay, who've been a constant help with ACM. If you want to get your start in sim racing by buying a bunch of games for cheap, including DLCs, you can find them, keys for them on Uplay at a deep discount. Even if you're not interested in sim racing, first off, what are you doing here? Why are you watching this race? I'm joking, keep watching. But you can get loads of other games on Uplay for a pretty steep discount. So head over to Uplay to get some really, really good prices on some really, really good games. Also got G-Portal, who have been our brand new server provider. Yeah, we have been, they've been awesome, and highly recommend them if you're looking to host your own races. Do go check G-Portal out. They have been incredible so far, and we're very much looking forward to see what else we can do with G-Portal as we continue to do even more races with ACM in the future. If you're looking to get started in ACC, there is of course the question of, does more expensive equipment make you a faster driver? And the answer is not necessarily. It does make the experience a little bit more realistic, with having enhanced feedback, better quality materials, all of that stuff. But you don't need it. I've seen people with, you know, Logitech G29s like take on world championships. I've seen people with a Thrustmaster TMX able to take down people with $20,000 full motion rigs, you know, all that stuff. You don't need an expensive setup to get started in sim racing. But I'd say there are kind of three main ways you can go down. Belt-driven, gear-driven, and direct drive. You'll know the Logitech G29, good starter wheel. It is gear-driven, so there is a little bit of clickiness with the force feedback. But if you're new to sim racing, you probably won't notice anything like that. Thrustmaster TMX is my personal wheel. I've been using it for a while. Very, very good force feedback. Would highly recommend it if you are getting started in sim racing. But if you have a little bit more money to spare, you can get a really good direct drive wheel from Moser, such as their R3 or R5 bundle. Which is a direct drive wheelbase that does come with a wheel and pedals. And the good thing about direct drive wheelbases from Moser is you can actually change the wheel out. So depending on the sim that you're playing, you can have a completely different wheel for a different ergonomic experience. It can have a Formula style yoke for Formula and GT racing, or a more rounded wheel for something like rallying. I think Moser even has a truck wheel for some of their direct drive bases. And again, look at that. It looks like that gap at the front has widened a little bit. I think that was Galikaev who has maybe thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. Navigating lap traffic is a skill you do have to learn, especially in ACC. Even if you're not doing multi-class races, you're still going to have drivers that are pretty slow that you're going to have to navigate, and most of the time you can have drivers that are actually really good under blue flags and get out of the way when they need to, but sometimes you'll just catch them in a really awkward place, and it's all about trying to maintain at a reasonable speed and getting past the blue flag cars without too much issue. That is how you want to be playing the race. Using those blue flag cars to your advantage at times. Beduda and Goswell still very... Beduda's managed to close that gap to Goswell almost immediately. Again, the amount of speed that Beduda has is incredible. Again, fastest lap still with a 1 minute 41.0. Gilroy up into P7, I've just noticed, and that is going to be a solid P7, as that 5-second penalty won't even drop him by anything. He's got a 26-second gap to Gallimini behind, 12 seconds to Bellamy ahead. So Gilroy's going to continue climbing up. Very, very good job from him. After starting in I think it was P23 or something like that, very further back in the grid, but climbing up that many positions in just 50 minutes is an absolute feat. So massive congratulations to him, but there's still 10 minutes to go, so he could catch up if he can keep up with his current pace, but with Bellamy's fastest lap being faster than Gilroy's, or at least very similar to Gilroy's, it doesn't seem very likely that Gilroy will be able to shave down 12 seconds in just about 9.5 minutes. But anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. So we've got Beduda and Goswell fighting with each other. Almost a bit of contact through Aquaminarale, barely avoided. Again, Beduda is really, really hounding Goswell for position now. Goswell losing the car a little bit, but Beduda also not having the best of runs through that final chicane there. Zucamari is now going to be on the back of that Ferrari. Onto the interior cam for just a second. As Extreme has a drive-through penalty, I think that is for track limits. Cheshire also with a drive-through penalty, that's going to drop him a couple of positions. Might be another position for Gilroy even. And it is another position for the British driver. Gilroy now up to P6, with Cheshire serving a drive-through penalty. Extreme also going to be serving a drive-through penalty. I would assume it is for track limits. Imola is very difficult with regards to track limits. A lot of the time it's very easy to wash out wide, and that will still give you a track limit warning, especially this corner here. If you do wash a little bit wide, you can get warnings, as well as warnings at Aquaminarale and that final chicane. They tend to be the three areas where you're going to see the most warnings for track limits being thrown out. So Imola is also a very important track to just try and remain within those white lines, and try not to push your luck too much, because you can get other drivers who end up having a bit of an incident, going a little bit wide. It is going to be looking for that move. Perhaps not just yet. He is going to have that slipstream from Goswell, though, who can see that that Ferrari in his rearview mirror. It's going to be getting closer and closer as he comes towards that first corner. We've got another car. We've got Extreme. Ooh, he's going to throw a little bit of a wrench into the works. hasn't really had too much of an impact on Goswell and Bududa, thankfully. Neither of them getting caught out. Goswell sweeping back to get a good line through that second chicane. But Bududa is still right on the back of him, looking for a move at the inside of the hairpin. Can't make it happen there. But he is getting close. Bududa maybe getting a little bit impatient. Still got 6 minutes left to go in this race, but he has been chasing Harry down for 25 minutes at least. I think. I can't remember. I've kind of lost track of time, to be honest. Bududa and Goswell are still fighting. He's trying to the Ferrari trying to open up Acqua Minerale as much as possible. Looking for a move around the outside into the final chicane. Can't really make it happen, but he's opened up the corner a little bit more, looking for a move on the exit. As Bududa is going to continue to hound Harry for position. He hasn't gone for anything brash yet, but it could just be a matter of time before Bududa runs out of patience and goes for a bit of a dive. Rene has made a move on extreme as well. The two are continuing to fight. So Rene lets past. Oh, extreme actually goes into the pit lane. Never mind. Okay. Bududa again, he's just trying to shake up Harry as much as he can. Getting up in the Brits mirrors, the number 8 Aston Martin being hounded by the number 32 Ferrari, looking for a move around the outside of the hairpin. Trying to cut back for the exit, but Harry is just able to keep a solid run through the corner. Bududa might be looking for a move at the inside of the next corner. Staying single file through here. Bududa is just biding his time, waiting for the opportunity. A little bit wide through turn number 8. Through Acqua Minerale they go again. You can see Bududa taking a little bit of a wider line to try and make that move into that final chicane. Trying to force a gap on the inside. Tucks back in behind the Aston Martin. He's not making that move happen just yet, but they are very, very close. Having some sort of move happen at least. Goswell has that Ferrari right in his mirrors. He's going to want to keep him there for as long as he can. Oh, even though Bududa is basically pushing him through these final two corners. Goes slightly wide at the final one, but he does have that slipstream from the Aston Martin. Both of them are going to want to make a fair attempt. Try and make a clean move. Again, it is a very, very difficult track to overtake on. Goswell and Bududa being the perfect example of why it is this tricky. It does look wide, as from a camera point of view. Goswell a little bit unstable through the second chicane, giving Bududa the squeeze to the outside of the hairpin. Leaves him barely enough room on the outside. Bududa backs out. Almost a move made there. But I think Bududa just wasn't expecting him to have that sort of mistake. By this point in the race, a lot of the drivers are going to be experiencing a little bit of tyre wear. So depending on how each of the drivers have been handling their cars throughout the stint, it might actually change the outcome a little bit. Some of the cars that are better on the tyre wear are probably going to be faring better at this point in the race, but other cars that are more aggressive, like the Mustang, can become a little bit of a handful towards the end of the race. The Ferrari is one of the more fuel-efficient cars, so they can run lighter fuel loads, meaning they are slightly faster just by having less weight in the car from less fuel. The Aston Martin, just a very solid overall car, decent tyre wear, decent fuel usage, as well as just being a very, very stable platform, so it's a very good car for new drivers to get into. The Ferrari is also very good for new drivers. Sometimes feeling like it's on rails. Can be a very, very good car for those who are looking to start out. The BMW M4, I'd also say, very good car for those who are just starting in ACC. You can try the Porsche if you want, though I wouldn't recommend it. Baduda looks to be braking a little bit late. Luca Mari now going for a move up the inside at the hairpin. Baduda goes wide, bouncing on the gravel. Mari looking up. Oh, a little bit of contact between two. Minor door banging there. As Mari's going to look up the inside of turn number 8. They're still side by side. Baduda has managed to hold on for just a little bit longer, but that gap between Goswell and Baduda has opened up a little bit more. It's allowed Mari to get in the mix a little bit, but a bit squarely through Acqua Minerale, and a really good run for Baduda has pulled him away from the Mustang slightly. With just 35 seconds left in the race, Harry could actually pull something smart here, but with only 30 seconds left before going to the line, I think Extreme is just trying to get lapped and then cross the line when it hits 0, so he doesn't have to do another lap. He might be running out of fuel in that McLaren. 15 seconds left. I think we are barely about to have... Oh, no, actually, he has just had a spin. Never mind. I thought it was a strategic decision, but unless he strategically decided to spin, I don't think that's happening. There is actually one more lap of this race. This is the final chance that Baduda's going to have to make any sort of a move on Goswell. As we are on that final lap. Baduda is trying to get anything that he possibly can from the Aston Martin driver. Ooh, sliding the car a little bit. Mark Mass style through the second chicane. Mari is approaching the back of the Ferrari as well. It could be a three-way fight for first place here with ACM. Goswell coming through the second sector now. Well, actually, is this still... Oh, yeah, no, this is the second sector. Flying through some of the quicker corners, coming now into Acqua Minerale. We've seen how quick Baduda is through here. He's just opening it up a lot more for a better run on the exit. This could be Baduda's final chance to make a move here. He thinks better of it. Baduda's not really going to have much of a chance unless he gets a really, really good run out of that final corner. Out of the final chicane, sorry. Goswell is leading Baduda all the way to the final two 90-degree left-handers. I think they are the Ravazzas. As Goswell's going to come through that final corner. And, yeah, that is the race. Goswell is coming through that final corner, flashing the lights to celebrate his victory here at the ACM 60 Minutes of Imola. Very, very close finish with only a few tenths between each of the top 3 finishers. Felinski in the Spinning Diamonds Lamborghini doing a fantastic job bringing that car home in P4. Bellamy for DZT Racing in the number 9. Fantastic job from him. Gilroy sliding across the line, crashing into the wall, but that is a P6 finish for him after starting somewhere very close to the back of the grid. I think P22 was where he qualified. Even after a penalty earlier on in the race, a drive-through, I think, for track limits, Cheshire pulls home a P7 finish. Galamini coming through to finish in P8, with Extreme down in P14 again, finishing alongside him. Kelly and Cardew are going to be coming through these final few corners. Let's take their place. Darkness finishing a very respectable P13. Brilliant drive from the number 724 BMW. Cardew will be our final driver to cross the line in their number 3 McLaren.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been the race, with Harry Goswell taking the lead in that BMW. That's not BMW, I'm blind. That Aston Martin, with Beduda finishing just behind, and Mari just behind him. Falinsky, Bellamy, Gilroy, Cheshire, Gallamini, Kelly and Caradu finish your top 10. I have been Derg, this has been ACM. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you at the next one.
Welcome to ACC Career Mode by ACM Racing. ACC Career Mode is back and better than ever, with a 3-month-long series containing over 50 races with mixed formats and challenges. Team up with friends to manage your finances, car performance and sponsor contracts, or go solo and manage your favourite car across the whole season, utilising the daily, weekly and monthly challenges to add some spice to your online racing. The best thing? You decide your career, with 7 different paths to choose from. Minimum effort is no effort. ACC Career Mode Quarter 1 contains 5 races a week, all stewarded and commentated live with a range of formats from 4 to 12 hour endurance races to 25-minute sprints. The full race calendar is available at acm-racing.com, with individual race sign-up taking place on SimGrid. Only available on Assetto Corsa Competizione PC European-based league.